ever seen in the 1910s. It was an era of great inventions and wonderful innovations. From Thomas Edison to Paul Terry, there were so many people that had such a great impact on animation as a whole. Hi everyone, it's Professor Tom, and I want to thank you so much for joining me and watching these videos about the history of animated cartoons. I want to take this moment to ask you to do me a really big favor and click on that subscribe button, check off on that like button, definitely share these videos with your friends, and please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about what I'm doing for you here. I think that animation is such a wonderful art form that I want to share the history of it with you. So please take a moment and click on all those buttons and let me know what you think. If one was to put the 1910s into some form of a category in the history of animation, it would probably be the testing ground for all the types of inventions that were created to make animation faster, easier, and cheaper. I wanted to take this opportunity to prepare you for the 1920s. So we're going to take a really fast trip through everything we've discussed so far of the 1910s. Let's start with the father of cartoon personality, and that happens to be Windsor McKay. Windsor McKay was the one that created Gertie the dinosaur. This was the first time any cartoon had personality other than what was seen in the newspapers. Now that the animation can be viewed by many people at one time, it was Windsor McKay that brought life and personality into the characters themselves so that the audience can actually relate to the characters. It was in 1913 when John Randolph Bray started the very first successful animation studio. Now, Bray was the person that created his production of animation in the form that Ford created automobiles. Bray used a production line to create his animation. So each person had a specific job to do to get to the end of the animation. The major innovation that Bray offered to animation was that he came up with the idea that since the backgrounds don't change throughout most of the animation, why not print the backgrounds on many sheets of paper and then simply draw the characters and have them move instead of redrawing the whole thing like Windsor McKay did for Gertie the Dinosaur. The next major innovation came in 1914 when an American Canadian by the name of Raoul Bray created a process of registration, meaning of keeping all of the images exactly where they should be when they're being photographed. This was a hole and peg system, and he would punch holes in the paper and use these little metal pegs and line up every sheet of paper on top of these pegs and on top of each other. This kept the papers perfectly neat and perfectly in registration so that there was no jittering or movement in the characters as they're being animated. Quite probably the biggest and most useful invention came from an artist by the name of Earl Hurd in 1917. Hurd had invented the celluloid system, or as we call it today, animation cells. This is where Hurd took a sheet of celluloid, clear, thin plastic, and that's where he drew and painted the characters so that you can use one background that was either drawn or painted with the registration hole and peg system and place the celluloid on top of the background so you can see through the clear celluloid area while the character is of course blocking the background and standing out clear and easy to view. This was something that is still used today in traditional hand animation. yet another invention that was created in 1917 and is still being used on certain cartoons today is called the rotoscope. Now, this invention was created by a cartoonist named Max Fleischer, who later on opened his own studio. This invention was a way of projecting an already filmed movie of a person that was in a certain position doing certain things, and it was projected onto a glass panel so that the cartoonist can trace each and every frame of the movement that the human did on the movie film. This made for incredibly smooth animation. And finally, the last major innovation that took place in the 1910s for animation was created by the artist named Paul Terry. This happened in 1917 when Terry decided to make the backgrounds move rather than the characters. So what he did was he created a way to have a long strip of a background scene so that he can place the animation cells on top of it, have the characters running but not moving. And the background he would advance just a little bit each time the character took a step. By doing this, the characters looked like they were running in place but moving across a background. It was something that really made the animation look as real to life as possible. The last event that I wanted to mention to you took place in 1919. An artist by the name of Otto Mesmer created a character that he called Tom Cat. Now, this is not the Tom that you know of today by the name of him and his partner, Tom and Jerry. Completely different character. However, it was the first major character that came along and lasted for many, many years. And you still know him today. He's not known as Tomcat. He is known as Felix the Cat. 1910s brought us innovation and inventions, while the 1920s are going to bring us famous characters that will last generations. This is Professor Tom thanking you again so much for watching my videos. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and leave a comment about what you think. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Bye-bye.